Should we get started? God, man, thank you. This is amazing. We can't believe that all of you showed up here to make vanilla.
Like, yeah, we do. You know, vanilla. Other people like vanilla too.
Like evidently, vanilla's like this thing, and we had no idea that vanilla was a thing. But somehow or another, vanilla became a thing, and in our lives now, like vanilla is like the only thing.
Yeah, pretty much lately, for sure.
It is absolutely amazing. So we're so happy to see all of you here. We've got friends that are visiting. Jill's mom, Shirley, in the back row there, who, those of you who have received our shipments, you know the little label that goes on the envelope that says vanilla is our yum, or it like Starlet's got there, or it says, sweet beans for you, sweet thing. That was all Shirley. She used to do that. She's a super big part of our business. And Teresa, Jill's sister, back there, she also does customer service. So many of you know her. You've talked to her on the phone. Emily, Jill's niece, she's helping. So you'll see them walking around. And we could just go through and like name all of you. And we're just so happy that you're here. And we really are still just shocked. Like, what are we doing here?
Well, we're live on our Facebook group right now, so thank you for joining us. If you're far away, we appreciate you joining us today. And then even all of you here, we have just a mixture. We have people from our Facebook group who've come quite a distance to be with us today, and they are the sweetest ladies. Thank you for coming and supporting us. And then we have so many different friends that we know of, and then also friends from our Facebook group that we're just meeting today. And it is so fun that you're all here. So thank you for coming and for your support.
Thank you. Absolutely. So let's dive in because we're gonna party vanilla style here, right? Vanilla party. Woo! So we're gonna do quick introductions, tell you a little bit about us, and then we're gonna jump right in. We're gonna be making vanilla extracts. We're gonna be taste testing vanilla extracts. They are made with 70 proof alcohol, so don't taste test too much. If you're driving, okay?
You'll be
fine. And then we've got 3 of our favorite group members that are here today that are like extract pros, where we have made some of these extracts up here, some of the ones that we've made. I don't know, how many do we have at home?
Too many.
Too many. Never enough. And so we've got 3 people that they're in our group. They've been group experts. Starlet has a vanilla room, which we're excited to show you a picture of her room a little bit later. Mary, who has traveled 10,000 miles this summer, we call her our sweetness ambassador because she and her husband have been on the road all summer visiting all these members of our group all over the place.
All over the country.
Right? And then Julie from Heber, right on the other side of the mountain. She's one of our experts in our group. We'll tell you about our group here in a minute so you know what we're talking about. But she's going to be teaching us how to do an extract as well. So we've got 3 guest teachers. We're going to make 4 different kinds of extracts, and we're going to have lots of fun talking about vanilla. Right? I covered it all? Yeah! And then tell us what lunch. You know Chef Al.
Oh, yes. So the Queen of Wands over here. And our lunch are provided by Infusions and Emulsions. They're local here. He's got 3 different shops. He's got one in West Valley, one at the airport. So when you guys are leaving, maybe you can stop by and get a little treat. And then also one here in Salt Lake. He's from Cuba. He does his own classes at his own bakery. So if you want to take some more classes, he has Cuban-inspired recipes. Macarons, he has, tons of classes. So we're all about supporting small businesses. We're small, and we like to just, find the niches out there that really are just unique and fabulous. I hope you liked them. Were they good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great, because I didn't have a chance to try them.
I know, we'll save them afterwards. So we're getting comments from everybody that's watching online right now. Someone's like, can you turn the camera around so we can see the crowd? It's like, oh, they're on to us.
Yeah, what? They don't think we have anyone here?
We have a crowd. They're on to us. So everybody, big clap for everybody online so they can hear you. What we'll do when we're done is we're going to turn the camera around, and then you guys can get in front and say hi to everyone, because there's a lot of people here that, they're all cheering. Hey, it's real. They really are. It is real. So, okay, there we go. So let's dive in. First, you all saw on your desk when you sat down the white box. feel free to open it up. There's a little saying on the front, says, "Give me vodka and tell me I'm sweet." Right? This is our gift box for each of you for signing up and being part of our class today. And inside, you can explain it.
Well, it's our basic extract kit. So you're going to have an ounce of beans, Madagascar beans. You're going to have a bottle. And then you have the book to tell you what to do with both of those.
So
and
go ahead.
We're actually going to make the extract for what you have in your boxes. We're going to make the very basic extract with Madagascar beans and vodka. And then we're going to taste test. We have one that's ready. It's a year old, so you guys get to taste what it's like after a year and see what you think. We'll also be taste testing some of the other recipes that our ladies are presenting as well later in the day.
In the day. The only thing we couldn't provide you with are the booze. So you're just going to have to stop by the liquor store on your way home, tell them you're there because you're an extract maker, and they'll just, sell
They're
it to
actually really helpful if you're not familiar with alcohol. You go in and you tell them, hey, I'm making some vanilla, and they're very sweet to steer you in the right direction.
Yep, they know what it is. So we wanted to give everyone just a super quick background about our journey and how this whole thing started. And it's such a fun story because it's just so vanilla. Like, you like that? There, and I'm just getting warm, Starlet. Here we go. So the idea of our business started in 2016, and I'll let Jill tell the story, and it highlights these ladies in the back row. So go ahead, Jill.
Well, it actually didn't start as an idea for a business. It was just a party. I love to party and have a good time and laugh. And I have two really good friends. We call them, it's my hair group. We have been friends for, I don't know, almost 20 years. We get our hair done together. Wave your hand because I want everyone to see you. Wendy on the right is my hairstylist.
Who is amazing.
Amazing.
Because look at Jill's hair. It's beautiful, right?
And then Judy we just kind of happened together, and we're solving the world's problems every 5 weeks, right? We're reading books, we're solving problems, and then we decided, hey, Christmas is so busy, let's have an extract making party. So we went to the liquor store, we bought a cart full of booze. How much vodka did we have in that cart?
It was hilarious.
There was so much. Everyone's like, what are you guys doing tonight? And we're like, well, I don't know. They're like, we want to come to your party. So that's how it started. They came to my house. We laughed. We had a great time. And then Paul came down. He's like, what's happening in here? And the kitchen is full with this vanilla scent. And was it not just the best time? So it really just started as a party. And then, of course, my husband, who has the business acumen, he comes in and he's like, there's something here. We should do something about this because this is fun. There
was something kind of magical, right? And you guys that have made extract, you know what it is. And it's so hard to explain. And we had never, there was a feeling. We called it like a Norman Rockwell kitchen table moment in a very non-Norman Rockwell way, right? Because everyone was having so much fun. The boys came out of their room, and we all ended up in the kitchen that night. And I don't know what it was. The beans and the vodka, I don't know. But it was so much fun. So we started a business. We're like, we found something. Let's set up a little side hustle. This is going to be great, right? So we got by the URL. We set up the business. We put it together. We start selling extracts. We're like, everybody's going to want extracts. Very first year, we did $243 in revenue.
We thought, wow, this is going great.
And when did we do the $243? It was like December 23rd. We were at zero until December 23rd. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we doing here? But let's do $243. The next year, $1,600, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm a little bit of an optimist, and I'm just saying that's a 650% increase in sales. So have you ever done the math on a 650% chart? We're going to be at like $1 billion in 3 more years, okay? You can all come out on our jet next time, because it's like the world, here we go. We're off to the races. But then we started hearing back from customers, like, why don't you sell beans? So we went a little further, and then we offered beans from Madagascar, Indonesia, Tonga. Then we started our Facebook group. That was in 2020. Starlet, you joined in October?
October 4th. Yep. At the 3 more.
3 years. So we started our Facebook group, and all of a sudden all these people started showing up wanting to talk about extract making. And we're like, extract, this is a crazy thing. Like, we just started growing and growing. Then in 2021, we wrote the very first draft of The Art of Extract Making. We wrote that in October 2021. By 2022, we were offering 20 different kinds of vanilla beans from 10 different countries. And then, of course, 2023, we published our book. Agate Publishing picked us up out of Chicago, which was so awesome. Their team is amazing. We can't say enough good about them. We've been top selling. We've been on the Amazon bestsellers list for 2 weeks now in a row. So, super fun. Cookbook on vanilla. I don't know. We're still just like, what are we doing here? But evidently, there's this thing, and extract making is obviously an amazing thing, and it's just taken over our lives in such a wonderful way. So let's keep going. So, the sophisticated business people that we are, we have this group on Facebook. We're up to like 15,000 members in January of 2021. So 0 members in September. By January, we're 15,000. So we're like, these ladies and everyone in the group, they want to like meet us and talk. So let's do our very first Facebook Live. And we're like super sophisticated, like we know how to do this.
Yeah. Totally.
Right, like we can do a Facebook Live.
Yeah,
like
sure.
how hard is it? You push a button and you go live. So this is an excerpt from the very first Facebook Live we did with 15,000 group members. We're at 98,000 today. Crazy! I know, we'll be at 100,000 next month. That's crazy. So this was us, 15,000. I hope the volume works. You tap it. I'm going to stand by the volume just to make sure that it works. This is the sophisticated Fulton family doing the first live. Just tap the mouse.
I did.
Oh, is it? Oh, it's not working. Hopefully you can hear it.
It's working.
Hey!
Well, Paul's head's cut off.
To welcome all of you to our kitchen here in the Fulton home. It's obviously
Sorry, it's not coming through the speakers, but we'll be quiet. You can hear it.
live event, and so we're working out some of the technical difficulties of getting started here. We were talking, Jill and I, before we started. It was 4.5 years ago, and it was right here in this kitchen, right on this island right here, that Jill got her friends, and they made their first ever vanilla extracts.
Yeah, right here. It was so fun. Really.
It was an adventure. You know, they went to the liquor store to get all the different liquors, and you're, walking around with like the cart full of just.
We kind of had to explain because we felt like, people thought we were, drinking it up.
But that is how VanillaPura began, and then it was just like 5 months ago that we started out making vanilla extracts by VanillaPura on Facebook, and we just celebrated this week 15,000 members.
Wow.
15,000 people that are part of our group now, and what a gift. I mean,
We're so happy to have you with us.
it has grown so much faster than we thought it would, and there's something when Jill was making extract with her friends, and as we started listening to everyone else and their extract adventures, what we found was that there's just something sweet, obviously, that is synonymous with extract making. You can't make vanilla extract without smiling. And so when you smile, you feel good, and during like these crazy times that we're living in right now, there's just something nice about having a place where you can go to smile. And so the whole point of VanillaPura is just that. The whole point of our Facebook group is just that. Let's have a place where we can all get together, smile, do something fun, be kind, and have a great time.
So there you go. That was it. Do you remember that? And that's when you're starting a business, you kind of stumble through and you kind of figure things out and you kind of make mistakes and you learn from the mistakes. But the most important thing that we found was we needed a place where we could communicate with the people that were really in the world. We in the vanilla extract making world. We needed a place where we could hear from our customers. We needed a place where we could hear why people loved us, but also why they hated us. We needed to know what was wrong. We needed to see the complaints. We needed to see all the different issues. And within that online community, that's exactly what happened. But the special thing that happened in the community is the brand started developing by itself, organically. It just kind of bubbled up. And the whole theme of our Facebook group is you've got to be kind to one another. Kindness. It's all about kindness. We all take a kindness pledge when we start, right?
Exactly. And you don't have to buy beans from us
Nope.
to be in our club. You just have to be kind. So if you like vanilla, come join us. Buy your beans wherever you want to buy them. You just have to be kind to one another.
And that's what we've done. And so we have almost 100,000. So we have 100,000 almost members of the group, and it's as they all say, it's the kindest place on Facebook. And we'll get into some of the amazing stats. But VanillaPura today, we source 43 different kinds of vanilla beans. Did you guys know there were 43 different kinds of vanilla beans? Oh, I know, this is crazy. We've got some in front of you. We're going to smell them. We're going to have all sorts of fun with it. We've got 28 different countries now that we source vanilla beans from, which is crazy. These farmers everywhere are growing vanilla, and they all are different. And we also now do spices like cinnamon and allspice and cacao and freeze-dried fruit, because you use that to make extracts, and on and on and on. But the most important thing with our site is it's getting accolades now, and it's known as the #1 source for accurate extract information, right? It's all of us that have been making extracts, we all made the same mistakes early on, right? And what's the mistake? What does everyone say? What's so hard? Just put beans and booze and wait. That's what they all say. Just put beans, get a bottle of vodka, throw in a couple beans, bada boom, bada bing, you got extract, right? And is that what happens? No, because what's the #2 comment that we get in our group? I've been waiting a year, my extract is horrible. Why? So on one hand, seriously, like on one hand, everybody's like, it's so easy. And on the other hand, everybody's like, why does my extract, it's horrible. Like, what's going on? It tastes bad, why? So we try to be the #1 source of accurate information. That was the catalyst for the book.
For the book.
Right? Okay. The story of vanilla, we're gonna have some fun, do some smelling here. Is that what we're doing in this part?
Yeah.
We're gonna go real quick here. Nancy, I told you I could out-talk you.
No, you
I told you. I keep going. I'm just saying. We might have you up here. So a little bit about vanilla. We're going to go really fast. It takes 4 years before a vanilla vine is mature enough for an orchid to bloom. The vanilla bean is the only fruit on the planet that grows from an orchid. A little fun trivia, right? I think that's nifty.
It is.
Right? So when finally a vanilla vine is long enough, 4 years old, the orchids bloom. Guess how those blooms get pollinated?
human.
A human has to do it. Every vanilla bean in the world was hand pollinated by a human. It was a process that was invented by a 12-year-old boy in the island of Reunion in 1841 who was the son of a slave named Edmund Albius. And today, we still use Edmund's technique in every single orchid that blooms.
We do.
It's crazy.
Every single bean has been hand pollinated by a person. And not only that, it takes 6 to 9 months after that for the bean to mature enough to be harvested. And then they're put out into the sun to sweat, and then they bring them in to dry, and then once they bring them in, they massage every single bean to get the oils activated to start coming out of the bean. So from the beginning of the bean to the very end, to the point where you get them at your house, it's a 5-year journey for those beans to get there. It's the second most expensive spice in the world today, behind saffron.
That's the story of vanilla. Isn't
So
that amazing?
It's quite complicated to get vanilla into our homes. It's pretty amazing.
So one of the fun things that we get to do now is we're trying to go out and meet with all of our farmers as often as we can. Now we started getting busy, COVID time, we couldn't travel a lot, so we're trying to get out.
And then we wrote a book.
Then we wrote a book. And really, like, our #1 goal is just to make sure we ship vanilla beans on time. That has kind of consumed all of our lives, and making sure that we get them out. But these are some fun pictures of different vanilla farms. The Red Hut is a farm we visited in the Yucatan Peninsula. Those are the beans being dried in the sun. The top right is a small Jamaican farm that I visited several years ago, and the ladies, what, Jamaican beans? Yes, there's a tiny little farm by Ocho Rios, Jamaica. The owner's name is Lorna, and I've been working with Lorna trying to get beans in so we can have Jamaican beans, because they have a whole new taste, and it's really exciting. Do you have a question?
Yeah. The beans in the picture look like they're 2 to 3 feet long. Do they shrink?
Well, you know, they. The reason I put that picture, I took that picture, and I love it because that's a banana tree right behind it. And I just thought these places where these beans grow are just amazing. But no, you know, that's that size that you see.
And that's
I'm just
why
close
we have
up.
all the samples for you to see. We have very large beans, and then you have very small beans. They come in depending on their species and they're origin. They come in all kinds of different sizes.
So the picture in the middle of Jill and I standing up, that is also in the Yucatan. Those are 4-year-old vines, and that's right before they're about to bloom. So they're about that tall at 4 years old. They need a host tree or post to grow on. They don't draw on the nutrients of the tree, but they just need something to sort of crawl and live. So that's the group, when we took that picture, that's the group that was going to bloom and be pollinated a few months after we left, and then became the next year's harvest. And those are on mahogany Caribbean trees. And where they grow and what's in the soil has a big impact on what the final taste and what the final smell is of each one of these beans. And then one of our favorite pictures with our farmer in Hawaii, we just love him, Siley. That's Hawaii. We went there on blooming day.
We actually got to hand pollinate with his daughters. They would go out there in the morning, then they help him. It's a family business. And we spent, a couple hours out there helping them hand
Pollinating
pollinate
orchids.
their orchids.
Yeah, it was the most amazing experience, tons of fun. And so we wanted to take you there and show you, again, the volume, so you have to listen, but this is just 43 seconds. We'll show you how a vanilla orchid is pollinated. Okay, you're live. Go ahead.
All right, so first we need to expose the inside of the flower, and we're getting in contact with the rustilium right here. And so what you need to do is you need to lift that up so you can expose the stigma, which is underneath that bottom flap. And so the anther cap, which holds all the pollen, you see all the yellow pollen on the cap up there. So you lift up the rustilium, expose the stigma, use your thumb to hold the anther cap towards the stigma, push lightly so that the pollen comes in contact with the stigma, and that's it.
And that's it. That's a pollinated orchid.
And 9 months later, this bad boy will swell up. You can see this one's starting to swell and turn into vanilla beans.
So that's how it works. Isn't that amazing? So you think of all the vanilla beans in the world, every single morning, people are walking their farms, they're looking for new blooms, and then here's the catch. If you don't pollinate by noon, the likelihood of successful pollination declines. You have about a 4-hour window from bloom until noon, and the bean has to be pollinated. And then at that point, you either do or you don't. And then there's a lot of strategy in terms of how many you pollinate. If you pollinate too many, it pulls all the nutrients from the vine, and the vine can die. And so there's lots of strategy behind how many you pollinate as you go through. But every morning in our world, right now, there are thousands of people in Madagascar and hundreds of people in Tonga. And this is what they do for a living. They walk the orchid looking for new orchids. They walk the fields looking for new orchids, hand pollinating vanilla beans.
Yep.
So that's why vanilla is so special. That's why I think it's just so rare. And when you finally get a vanilla bean, it's I think an amazing experience. And maybe it's because I don't know that anything great is made easily. And so there's just something where we're trying to define what was that like intangible feeling in our home at Christmas when they're making the vanilla extract. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But there's just something absolutely special about this bean when it finally shows up in your home, right? Did I miss anything?
No, you're doing it good.
Hey!
Good job.
All right, so our Facebook group today. So you saw the video, 15,000 members, and this kind of will tell you vanilla and how crazy it is. We currently, as of yesterday, we had 98,098 members of our Facebook group. In the last 12 months, we had 15,877 posts.
That's how much there is to talk about.
No, I know. You're like, vanilla's easy, right? Well, 15. It's
It's just Starlet talking.
Just Starlet talking. 15,877 posts, 801,000 comments. Again, about vanilla in booze, right? Like, yeah, I know. 3 million reactions. 3 million times someone clicked, thank you, thank you.
When you put it in statistics, it looks big.
It looks big. Wait till we get to your statistics, Starlet. We're just getting warm. But we talk about kindness in our group, so we started a thing in our group. It's called Free Beans for Kind Words. And every Friday, group members nominate other group members for kindness. So if a group member did something especially helpful during the week, someone else in the group nominates them for being nice. Just being as sweet as a vanilla bean, right? That's our thing, kindness. And over the last 12 months, we have given away 475 people have received free vanilla beans for kindness in the last 12 months. And I know, isn't that fun?
Even
Yes, go ahead.
in addition to that, we have wonderful group members who contact us who want to give beans to other people in the group. So there are Teresa is our customer service representative. She takes care of all of those people who want to anonymously or not anonymously give beans to people in our group who may not be able to afford them, or something, they're having a difficulty in life, or they've finished their vanilla and it's ready to use and they just dropped it on the floor. We don't know how many times that has happened, and that's 12 months of waiting, 12 months of work. And we have our wonderful members who will just send them beans, because we all know how that feels, right?
Right. No, it's amazing. And we didn't come up with that. That was you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those fun things where it just evolves and has become something really special. Wouldn't you agree, Nancy?
I totally agree. Do you want me to talk more about this?
No. You'll have your chance. Okay. But it really has been, everyone calls it the nicest place on Facebook. There's just not a mean thing that's said. And we don't talk politics. We don't talk anything. We just talk vanilla. And the rule is you just got to be nice and be helpful, And it's been that way. So as we keep saying, it's been amazing how as we've grown bigger, we've only grown sweeter. And that really is the case. And as you talk to these wonderful ladies that have flown in from all over the place today to be here, you'll see they're the nicest people on the planet. And we're just trying to keep up with them. So thank you to all of you, because that all came from you. Yeah. Okay, so why write a book? Why in the world write a book, right? And the answer was just to help you succeed. Because we keep getting calls and emails and posts, and everybody's making the same mistakes over and over and over again, and they wait a year for their extract to be finished, and it's not good, and they don't know why, and then they think, well, this is a hoax, or you can't, something's wrong, and they don't know. And so we're like, there needs to be a definitive place where you can get accurate, FDA-based extract making instructions. So the FDA regulates vanilla extract. I don't know if you know that. But when you see the word pure written on bottles of extract in the grocery store, that word pure coupled with vanilla extract is regulated by the FDA. For extract to be extract, right? How many ounces of beans do we need? 1 ounce of beans for every
0.83.
There you go. 0.83 ounces of beans for every
8 ounces of alcohol.
Sounds easy, but it's really important, right? And that's single fold, and then you can double that for double fold. So we round up just to make it easy. It's 1 ounce of beans for 8 ounces of alcohol. That is the FDA recipe for pure vanilla extract. So you can make it correctly in your home, and it can taste just as good as, we'd say even better, than the stuff that's in your kitchen, because it hasn't been processed. In every vanilla bean, there's 300 flavor compounds. They're really complicated. So people that are coffee connoisseurs, they'll know this, right? Like beans from different origins, if they're brewed correctly, have an entirely different taste and flavor profile. And chocolate is the same.
Yeah.
Cacao is exactly the same. A Nicaraguan cacao versus a Costa Rican cacao tastes totally different, right? Vanilla is exactly the same. And so when you make it in your home, you're not rushing it, and you're allowing it to extract the way nature intended with Smirnoff, right? I don't know, nature intended Smirnoff. But you let it extract naturally with time, and all those flavor compounds come through, and you get an amazing finished extract with 1 million different applications, and then you've just begun. Because once you learn about vanilla, what do you start doing? I wonder if I could do this with cacao. Oh, you can. We're going to talk about that. I wonder if I can do this with fruit. Oh, you can. We're going to talk about that. Nuts.
Caramel.
Herbs.
Yep.
Mint. All of these things. They can all be, in fact,
Everything.
oh my gosh, there's some crazy going on in our group right now, because everyone is doing this peppermint Christmas candy and putting it in vodka, and they're calling it extract, but I'm kind of thinking that's peppermint schnapps. Yeah, I don't know. But hey, we're on the front lines of research and development of extract making, and that's just where you got to go. You got to try it, right? So
Yep.
that's why we wrote a book.
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so this is the fun part. Everybody has beans in front of them. Just like we said, vanilla beans are like cacao and coffee. Depending on the species and the origins that they're coming from, they all have different taste profiles. So what we want you to do is smell all of those wonderful beans. We want you to just, try it out. See what you think. And we came up with this wonderful chart. It's in our book. And do you want to tell them about?
Yeah, so as you're smelling the beans, you can try to keep them in the pouch. One end of each pouch is open, and you can kind of just like puff it, and you'll kind of get the smell as it comes out, and you can compare, and the label's on the bag so you can see each, and you can start getting a sense for the different flavors. So when we started doing this, when we started playing with different beans, and people were saying, how is it different? We had a real hard time defining it because no one had ever done this before. There was no place to sort of explain how do you quantify the different aromas of beans. So we invented this little tasting nosing chart. And the way it works is we put light and sweet on the vertical axis up high and dark and earthy down low. And then buttery and creamy over to the left and bold and fruity over to the right. So here's what's important. Madagascar makes up 70% of the world's vanilla. So most of you are accustomed to Madagascar vanilla beans. So if you see Madagascar on the chart, right above buttery and creamy over on that top left corner, that's the vanilla that you're used to. And everything is sort of relative then to Madagascar.
So you start there, that's your familiar scent, that's what you know. And then from there, branch out. You're going to smell all kinds of different fruity flavors. I mean, our Colorado Ecuadorian beans have a hint of plum and apricots. And then our Papa Indonesians have a little bit of a smoky cacao smell to them. All of them have their own unique flavor profiles.
They all do. And then they all have their own cooking application. So for people that are making something chocolate, they like using like a dark, earthy Indonesian vanilla that accentuates the chocolate. And then when you choose the alcohol that you extract with, then you have to start asking yourself, do I use like vodka, which is tasteless? Do I use rum, which is extra sweet? Or do I go to a bourbon that's really smoky? And so then you start pairing your alcohol, like a smoky alcohol, with like a dark, earthy Indonesian vanilla bean, and you've got an entirely new extract. And then when you get really crazy, you can throw a couple of cocoa nibs inside, right? The cacao. Make it even a little more chocolate inside your extract, and now you have a chocolate extract that accentuates your chocolate cooking. Mousses, chocolate mousse
Yes.
is what I was thinking of.
Yes.
Those kinds of things, like it can accentuate then the flavors of what you're trying to highlight in all of your baking. And now you're in the rabbit hole.
Well, and even it's not just like it's not just sweets. We put our Indonesian smoky beans into bourbon, and we throw that over when we're searing our meats. I'll put it in some glazes. It adds, or even barbecue sauce. It adds just an extra flavor that you're missing. You'll see. You try it, you'll notice the difference.
A sweet, fruity, like a V. tahitensis bean from Indonesia in a vodka, splashed over your mahi-mahi on the grill is amazing. It's this little extra sweetness in all these places, barbecue sauce, wings, I mean, all these places where, and then when you've got a cabinet full of extracts, you can use these things liberally. You have this like artillery of like flavor, where you're like, I want a little strawberry, I want a little cacao, I want a lot of, and you can get so creative in what you're cooking and have lots of fun with it, right?
Yep.
Here we go. That's how it begins.
So take the time. I want you guys to just kind of smell it. I want to know what you think. What's your favorite?
Yeah.
What are you surprised about? Are you surprised about the sizes?
Yeah, do any surprise you?
Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
All four.
All of them?
I'd take any one of them home.
Everyone has kind of a different palate and a different nose.
Hawaiian
Isn't that beautiful?
would be amazing on pork chops or
Yeah.
beef.
Yeah. No, it's amazing.
Ugh.
And then you get in, there's different species of bean, and we talk about this in our book. We won't go too deep here, but the primary species that everybody is used to is called a planifolia. And then the secondary species that you might be used to is called a tahitensis. Tahitensis are usually a little smaller, a little fruitier. And then the big fat beans are called pomponas, which are really earthy. You'll get like figs and bananas and dried fruit that come out of the pomponas.
And those are the huge beans. I don't know if you saw those, but they can come this big, and one bean can weigh up to
2 ounces. The one that big was almost 2 ounces.
I mean, they're huge, and they have a ton of we like to call it caviar, because when you slice the bean open, those seeds look just like caviar, and you can put those in all your creams and your ice creams, and just it's beautiful, and it's delicious.
It's delicious. Any other comments as you're smelling them? Had you ever noticed the difference between vanilla beans before? Any feedback? Different? Could you pick out the different?
You can pick out that they're different.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? Good. Well, we hope that was fun. Most people had never experienced more than one vanilla bean before.
I
Go ahead.
appreciated your chart because I was able to read the label
Uh-huh.
and then kind of go, okay, what am I looking for? Then I smelled it.
Yeah.
And you got it. It was that dark earthy or that light sweet.
Yeah. And everyone will have a different palate, different experience, but this has been our experience with them. Okay. Keep going? Should we dive in?
Sure, let's dive in.
We, by the way, we are like right on time. I'm just saying. I just never. So we are right on
You
time.
haven't let Starlet up there.
No, I know. We'll get there. That's, yep, Starlet's last today. Okay, what do you need me to move here?
Okay, so we're really just going to start very basic here. We're starting with, and in the book it's called Your First Extract.
Hey, really quick, we've had a couple of questions. If I could just bring one up because I think it's there's a discussion going on right now when you go to the store, people are looking at their extract recipes on the shelf and it says water. And so what we said here is that the FDA monitors extract recipes, and there's only 2 ingredients in extract, right? It has to be 1 ounce of beans, 0.83 ounces of beans to every 8 ounces of alcohol. Well, the FDA mandates that, oh, I thought that was our TV. No, you're good. I'm like, oh no, my son did something.
He would do that.
He
to us.
totally would do that. And so the FDA, the requirements in for extract, it's 35% alcohol so let me go back. 8 ounces of 35% alcohol to 0.83 ounces of vanilla beans. So why does it say water? Well, the other 65% of the alcohol solution is water. And that'll throw some people off. But it's 65% water, 35% alcohol as a minimum, and then the ounce of beans. So hopefully that answered the question online. It looks like it is. BJ reminded me that the peppermint thing is an infusion, not an extract, right? And we get that. There's effusions, emulsions. They're all talked about They're all talked about in the book as well. We won't go into those, but yes, thank you, BJ. You're spot on.
It's in the book.
It's in the book. Connie, 0.83. Yes, Connie, you got it. You're spot. Oh, and Connie made the point. Now we're really going to get into like the deep stuff here. But the FDA also, there's a third requirement that the vanilla beans need to be less than 25% moisture content. So traditionally, grade B beans are below 25%, grade A beans are above 25%. Our group loves using grade A beans, and this is also in the book, because there's lots of uses of those vanilla beans, but they do have added moisture. So the other reason that we round up to 1 ounce of vanilla beans for 8 ounces is that makes up for the dilution rate of the additional moisture content that's in a grade A bean. A grade B bean is really, really dry, so obviously 1 ounce of grade B beans is going to be more beans than 1 ounce of grade A beans, and therefore you're going to have more vanilla inside. But a lot of those oils are lost in a grade B bean as well. There's pros and cons, and they both make amazing extracts. So we're not advocating either. We're just trying to educate you about both. And it's all discussed in the book.
And you also, at your samples here, you can see the difference. There's Centani A and then Centani B. And so you can actually open them up and see how brittle, sometimes the Bs will even break in half. This is a very, very dry bean. This is a B. And they extract wonderfully. The oils will come out of the pod. It will be just fine. The great thing about the grade A is that you're getting all the caviar. So if you want to add those specks to your desserts, you want to see it in your recipes, then you want a grade A because you're not going to get much out of these grade Bs.
The caviar, that's the name if you haven't heard that before, but when you take the little speckle seeds out, we call it vanilla caviar because it looks just like caviar. And those are the fun speckles you put in your ice cream and you have a lot of fun with when you're cooking. Okay, we're going to make an extract. We're going to make, we call it in our book, your first vanilla extract. That is as creative as we get, but we're like, we got to make this crystal clear. This is where we recommend that everyone begins because if you get the principles of extract making right, and you get them down and you do it the right way every time, then you can go and start making a lot of others. So we're just going to start with a really simple extract. Then we're going to bring up like our extract PhDs here, and they're going to make some really complicated stuff, which we're excited about.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so it's so simple. We call it the 3 Bs. All you need are beans, booze, and a bottle. Easy, right? Why do you need to write a book about the 3 Bs, right? You guys know this. Well, on page 4 in the book, these are the most, all the questions we get on our group over and over and over. How many beans? What kind of beans? A or B? what kind of alcohol? Can I put it in vodka? Can I put it in tequila? Can I put it in brandy or rum or bourbon? We get all these questions. What kind of bottle? Does it can it be plastic? Does it have to be glass? Is it dark? Is it clear? I mean, so many questions. And so that's why I write the book. It's in the book, right? So really, really super simple here. So what we've got is we've got 1 ounce of beans. This is the most important part, is you should always weigh your beans. We get people say, how many beans do I need to put in? And they're like, oh, like 4. There are a lot of retailers out there that will sell their beans by the count. And if you see all of your samples, there are several beans in there that are very small, and some that weigh more than others. And so you're not getting the same value as if you buy your beans by the weight. So you always want to make sure that you have 1 ounce of beans. You follow this foundation, and then you can go anywhere from here. So this is a preference of, do you cut your beans or do you leave them whole? So this is going to be up to you. I like to do both. I like to cut a few so that yummy caviar can get into my extract. And then I also like to leave some of them whole, because then when my extract is done, I can pull those beans out, slice them open, and put that caviar in my custards and my ice cream, and and it's preserved in my extract. I don't have to worry about my beans going bad. I've got caviar just sitting there in my extract. So I like to do both. Now, Starlet came up with this idea, which I love it. If you want to keep them whole, you just tie them in a knot, and it keeps the caviar in there. It's not cut, and so you can just drop them into your jar, and you don't have to worry about them being too tall, because you want your beans have to be submerged. If they're not submerged, they're not going to extract the oils out. So you want to make sure that the 8 ounces of vodka that you're putting in here is going to cover all of the beans. Now, sometimes I keep them whole if it's a larger jar, because I like how it looks, and I like to gift it that way. And so if you want to keep them a little bit bigger, then you'll need a little bit bigger of a jar. But to cut these, we have ladies that use seam rippers to cut them open. So
Who started that, by the way? Who is that? Connie's on right now. She was the one asking. Connie, she started that.
Yep.
The seam ripper. Crazy.
So,
I know.
So really,
Connie.
I cut them in 3s, a couple of them here, and then some of them I'll just slice down. I just do it with scissors, kitchen scissors or whatever, and I just go all the way down the middle.
So if I could jump in, an interesting thing about the vanilla bean is most of the oils that are actually extracted into the alcohol come from the pod, not the caviar. And so that's a big misunderstanding, is the caviar doesn't taste a lot like vanilla. It still has some oil in it, but the majority of the flavor comes from the pod itself. So when you slice it open, the idea is that the alcohol now is on both sides of the pod. It's more surface area contact, maybe a faster extraction. Some people say that it is, but that's the pros and cons. The con of that is now all the caviar is going to spill out as the bean gets really soft in the alcohol, and the bottom of your extract is going to be full of caviar. Some people love that. Some people hate that. For those that like to slice and end up with the caviar, but they want the caviar out before they pour, what do? We pour it through a coffee filter or a cheesecloth, and it'll catch all the caviar. Then you can use the caviar for your ice cream or whatever you're making, and then your extract is nice and pure and clean again, right?
Yep, if you don't like the specks in there, there's an option.
Yeah, little tricks.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So those are all the things you got to consider just when you're like, do I cut it? Do I knot it? Do I slice it? That's what you consider.
Yeah, and let's talk about bottles. So this is a big topic on our group too. Do I use glass? And in the store, they're always in these dark bottles. Why are they in the dark? Do I need to buy dark bottles? Can we use plastic?
We try not to.
No, we don't. We like to use clear glass because we can actually see the process. It's fun because we're nerds.
We like
we're
watching.
vanilla nerds. We really are, and we'll admit it, right? But we like to actually see the process. And so we like to use clear glass bottles. The sunlight affects the extraction, and so that's the reason that the ones in the store have the dark bottles, because they're just out on the shelves. And so when we're finished making this, we'll put this in a very large pantry full of vanilla. and we won't bother it.
But storage in a cool, dark place when you're done is really important. And that's
Yep.
the reason that the extracts you buy at the store, they'll have the dark glass because they can't control when it's being distributed if it's sitting in sunlight. And so they use dark to make sure it's protected in your home. You can control that.
Yeah. Did you have a question?
Just the question, what does the sunlight do to it if it is exposed to it?
It'll heat it, which immediately has an impact on the flavor compounds. And so heat's not good. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't want to store it in a cupboard next to your stove.
Right.
Right? You don't want to store it above the oven or by the microwave, or you just put it in a
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool dark place, right?
Not in the refrigerator.
No.
Not
No,
in the
not in the
refrigerator.
refrigerator.
Cool, not cold.
Yeah. The cold will do just the opposite. It'll slow the extraction and then it can have effects. And you put beans in the refrigerator, you take them out, there's a high likelihood they'll grow mold really, really quickly the way that they interact with cold. And so you want to keep them room temperature.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the other fun thing about the bottle is when you make it yourself, you get to pick the bottle, right? And going back to my first party ever, the bottle was one of the fun things we did, right? Picking a cute bottle because we were gifting it to all of our friends for Christmas. So we have members in our Facebook group. They'll go garage sailing. They'll look on Facebook Marketplace. We have a couple who met on Facebook and they go out searching for bottles all over the place. We have people who go in grandma's attic looking for bottles who have actually found vanilla that they've inherited. So, I mean, it's just a fun world. It's unique. Make it your own, right? You don't have to have the bottle that looks like in the store. We've got all kinds of different bottles and it's just fun. It's your extract. Make it yours. Put your personality into that, right? Okay, so this is the easy part. We're just going to put in 8 ounces.
And while she's pouring it, let's talk alcohol quality. You don't have to go top shelf. It doesn't have to be the most expensive alcohol, but we always caution against bottom shelf. We actually did a lot of experimenting early on, especially with bourbon. We went to was it Black Crow? It was absolutely horrendous. Like bottom shelf bourbon, it didn't work. But you can go bottom shelf on some of the vodkas. You can go like Kirtland vodka out of Costco. There's lots of really cheap places where you can get really high quality, great vodka. You don't have to go top shelf, but like with rums and others, we do have people that use the Kirk and Sweeney. With bourbons, we have people that use the Woodford Reserves because they're really high quality, and if they taste great independent, when you make vanilla extract out of them, they're even that much better. And so there is a case to be made if you want to spend a lot of money on your extracts, and we have people that do. They'll go top shelf, but we always recommend mid shelf for most things is kind of the safe zone. So you can get, I don't know, how much was this bottle? This is a local. We love supporting local too. Dented Brick Distillery.
Out of Salt Lake City.
Out of Salt Lake City. Do you remember how much that bottle was?
I think it was 24, 26.
24, and that'll make 3 ounces or 3 bottles of this size of extract.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so the economics then of a finished extract with a mid-shelf vodka are really good, and usually equal to, even a little better than what you get in the store.
Yep. So you don't have to be picky there.
Better, yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay, so oops.
Oh, there you go. It's been a stressful couple of weeks at the Fulton home. These book launches, they take a little time. So use a funnel, it'll splatter. So these are just tools you want to have in your kitchen when you're extract making. And there's your 8 ounces. Interesting thing about bottles, when they're sold, they are given a minimum ounce on their label. So they say 8 ounce. It doesn't mean that it's exactly an 8 ounce bottle. It just means that it will hold at least 8 ounces. In the case of this bottle, it holds much more than that. And so we measure before we pour it in.
Yeah, so I've got, just a titch of a bean coming out there. If you add just a little bit more, you'll be fine. Or you can add a little bit more beans in there. It's, if just a little bit of adding to the alcohol or the beans, you're going to be fine. I mean, you don't want to pour a whole nother ounce in there, but,
No.
We'll
get into that when we get into some of these others. They absorb the alcohol, and so there's some topping off, and there's a little more calculations that you've got to do when you're making it, because they'll absorb it. When you pull them out, you'll have less alcohol, and so you may or may not choose to top it off. Yes, Sarah.
Does it make a difference what kind of corking you use on the bottle? If you use a quart cork, or do you
Oh, I love that question. That is so in the book.
It is so in the book.
So corks deteriorate. That's the only con. So why is wine stored on its side? Cork health. That's
Keep the cork moist.
cork health. That's the reason, right? Corks have to be moist to work. Now, spirits also use corks, but they're stored upright. Well, the alcohol content of a spirit might be 40% or greater, And so there's alcohol and vapor that's floating around in the bottle that keeps the cork healthy when it's upright. But the con with corks is deterioration. So we love corks. We think they look beautiful. But always start with a brand new cork. And then when you're done with it, throw the cork out, put a new cork in.
The great thing about corks is that you can, when you're wondering if your extracts are ready, you can just take the cork out and smell the cork, and it gives you such an idea of where that extract is. Instead of, if you don't want to have to taste test it, you can just smell the cork, and it really gives you a good idea of how far along your extract is. So I enjoy using corks.
We're pro cork, but it's really controversial.
It is.
We just had 40,000 people leave our group. I probably shouldn't have said that.
I know. Come on, honey.
Crazy. Anyway, and corks are they're decorative. Like, this is a fun bottle,
Yeah,
right? Like,
it's fun.
you can have fun with it. So it's just appearance. It doesn't affect the taste or the outcome of the alcohol or of the extract.
There's also the option of silicone corks.
Yes. Oh, totally. Yeah. And also, you don't have to, if you like the bottle of the spirit, you can use that bottle. And if they come with a silicone cork, a bottle like this, 750 milliliters, it's 3 ounces of vanilla beans. So if you want to just buy that, put in your beans, 3 ounces, then you're great. You'll have single fold extract.
Whole
Yep.
beans.
Yep, and you can do whole beans. There will be some displacement. You'll have to pour a little out, but you'll be able to get 3 ounces of beans in there, and you've got single fold extract. So you can do it that way and just use the spirit bottle as well. You don't have to buy one. A lot of people do that.
And that's another thing with when you're doing your extracts, you want to make sure that your bottle is just a little bit bigger than the volume that you're putting in, because the beans will displace the alcohol in it. Then you'll have too much in there. So you always want to make sure that, this is an 8.5 ounce. But you can always use a bigger jar as long as those beans are submerged. If it's a jar this big and you only have this much in it, you're good. If you got something around the house, use that. And a lot of our Facebook group members, Nancy, I love your smile. What they do is they'll put it in like a canning jar. And then when they want to gift, they call it decanting, and then they find all these cute jars, and then they actually put them in the jar. So if you're making it, you can put it in a big canning jar, whatever you want, and then, disperse the alcohol into the smaller bottles.
So does it matter how much oxygen is in the bottle left exposed when you start? Does that make any difference?
I mean, chemically, yes. Just like with spirits, you get down to like a half a bottle and it starts changing sort of the flavor profile of the spirit. You're going to get more evaporation, and so that can have an impact on the final flavor for sure. What have we experienced when we made it? We made our biggest mother jar, started like it's a 1 gallon bottle, and it was 3/4 empty when we began. And we haven't seen really a difference in taste of the extract. I'm sure at a chemical level, if we had a chemist in the building that could help us.
If we had a chemist in here, I don't know, he could probably help us.
But at a chemical level, certainly, I think it's going to have the same impact as a half-empty bottle of spirits.
Oxidation, is that a problem in this extract?
No, we haven't noticed it.
No.
You don't put in any antioxidant, any nitrogen?
No.
topping or anything?
Nothing. Beans and
Nope.
booze.
Beans and booze.
That's it.
Yep.
Great questions, though.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, so there you go.
One more thing.
Yes, please.
The alcohol that you're putting into your extract has to be between 35. Sorry, I just had
35%?
35% and 50%. If you go lower than that, the beans aren't going to extract. If you go above that, your beans will burn and it'll taste awful. So you want to stay within that 35% to 70% or
to 50%
50,
alcohol,
and then
which is 70 to 100 proof.
70 to
So the proof is double. They use that in Europe more, but the proof is double the alcohol content. So 35% alcohol, 70 proof. So 70 to 100 proof is
well, and a lot of
the
times
window.
on the bottle on the outside it'll say it in proof.
Yeah.
So it's just 70 to 100. But we can help you if you use the wrong alcohol and there isn't enough.
Yeah, if
we
it's
can
low,
always add more. But if you use alcohol that is too high, overproof, there's nothing we can do to help you.
No.
Yeah, so
You're
sorry.
Sorry. You can still use the beans though. You can take them out. You can heat them, right? You grind them. You can make vanilla powder. You can put them in your vanilla sugar. So it's not like they're useless. You still get life out of the beans, but you just can't use it for extract at that point, right?
And with your bottle, label it.
Labels.
Oh. Yes.
So that's why we put all of these here, and labeling, we go real simple, right? We use masking tape.
Well, I hate stickers. I hate having to deal with stickers. It's the biggest pet peeve I probably have. So when I'm researching and just kind of making extracts, I use masking tape, and it has like, change out in 3 weeks, and the date that I started is on the bottom, and then the date that I have to change out is in the front, and then it tells me what spirit, what beans, everything is just on there, and I just pull it off with the tape, and I don't have to worry about stickers. I do have a bottle over here, and it has a question mark on it. I have no idea what it is, but it's fabulous. It is so good. So, that happens. So taking a record of what is actually in your extracts is so very smart. I have several that I did not write things down. It's still wonderful extract. I just can't remake it. I can't replicate it, and that's the frustrating part. And in the back of the book, there's places where you can write notes.
We have
got
a journal.
whole journal that you can write things down and keep track of what you've actually made.
And then we have additional pages on our website that people can download for free, because there's I think 12 or 13 journal pages, and the first comment we got was, it's not enough. Okay. So you can download more on our website for free, and you can have as many pages in your journal as you'd like. I saw a question. Oh, there it was.
Label it in a way that will make sense a year from now.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Because if you're just, having one of those days and you label it, I'm so mad at my husband. Then a year from now, no, you'd be like, he's the sweetest guy I've ever met. Like, what was that all about? I don't know. So, but label it specifically, because you do forget, right? Okay, so we've passed around, so let's talk taste testing for a second. So one of the challenges that people have is they make their vanilla extract, and they're like, I think it's ready, I don't know, they dip their finger in, they lick their finger, and they're like, it's horrible. Tastes like alcohol. It's like, well,
It's supposed to
like
be.
if you go buy it from the store and you dip your finger in it, you taste it, it's horrible, because it's extract. Like, it's like snow cone syrup without the snow cone. It's gross.
There's no sugar in there.
Yeah, it's like it's really concentrated. That's the whole point. The goal of extract making is maximum sweetness in the smallest amount of liquid possible. That's the goal. Because when you're baking, liquid's bad, right? Too much liquid creates a problem. So it's, how do I pack that teaspoon of liquid full of as much sweetness as I can? That's the goal. It's simple, that's it, right?
Yep.
So it's all about maximum sweetness. So when you taste it, it's really concentrated. To taste test, you need a medium. And so we've got milk, and then you can also use like whipped cream. A lot of the ladies will use whipped cream, we've seen. Are there other mediums that I'm missing? Oh, sugar cubes.
Sugar is your medium.
That is not in the book. Wheat thin crackers.
Wheat thin, break them in little fours. and
Really?
drop- Oh,
Okay.
my goodness, if you want to taste something like
There
you're
you go.
baking with it, wheat thin crackers.
Wheat thin crackers.
I brought a box.
Oh, you brought it. Carlin. So you need a medium. We typically use milk, and you put in a tablespoon of milk.
A tablespoon of milk.
Couple of
just
drops of extract.
A couple of drops of extract. Just swirl it around, right? And then take a sip. Now, the samples you have in front of you are exactly what I made. It's vodka with Madagascar beans. It's the very basic vanilla. So swirl it around, take a little sip, and tell us what you think.
And that's when you know it's done. So that's a year-old vodka Madagascar bean extract.
And you
right?
guys can do that. I mean, how simple is that? We have some newbies here that don't know anything about extracting, and you can do that, right? You guys can do that. That's easy.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, this is the foundation, and I mean, vanilla goes into everything.
Everything.
Right? Everything.
Okay, so did you like that? What did you think? Tastes okay? Kind of fun? Yes? Good job. All right.
Would you like a question? Is there any sugar in this? Did you put sugar?
No, we never.
Well,
Yeah,
what-
It's just.
It might
Well,
be a
in the
sugar
milk.
base. That was a vodka.
No.
So we're okay.
The sugar you're getting is from the milk. Yeah, it's just milk and extract. Yeah.
That vanilla taste is incredible.
It's a lot of fun, isn't it? Who would have thought? Vanilla is so not vanilla. Come on, the jokes just keep flowing today. All right. So let's talk vanilla for a minute. One of my really good friends from high school, we go all the way back, Melissa Stadler. She is the CEO of Modern Honey. She is an award-winning baker, was a Pillsbury finalist, right? Twice for the $1 Million Bake Off. She was on the cover of Food Network magazine. And so if you're not already fans of Modern Honey, you need to go to You need to go to modernhoney.com. She has an amazing blog. She's made award-winning recipes, amazing desserts. We've been following Melissa since VanillaPura just began. And so she was in town on vacation, and we're so happy that you're here, Melissa. So, yeah, sure, come on. We're going to talk vanilla for a second, and then we're going to take like a 5-minute break, and then we're going to start with all of the recipes. So a break's coming up. So we thought, come on in. Say hi to you. You can stand between. Yeah, say hi to, there you are. Say hi to everyone in the group. So let's talk vanilla.
Okay, I love it.
Recipes that make vanilla like the center. Like, how do you accentuate vanilla? Like, what is like your favorite vanilla accentuation recipe? Like, someone made an extract, they want to make something great, showcases vanilla. What is it?
I always go to like my custard-based recipe. So anything like creme brulee, any type of like pudding. Let's say you're making like a cream cheese frosting and you want it to pop. I just think that vanilla is like the difference maker, right? So many times, like if you're obviously making a vanilla cake or something, but even more than baking, I would say it's more the ones that are you're gonna get the pop, like I said, like a custard, like a butterscotch budino, which I love with the salted caramel. And I am so picky with my vanilla, so I was so excited when I heard you guys were doing this, because vanilla is such a difference maker. Like, I can tell right away in a recipe if it's going to elevate it or if it's going to cheapen it up, right? Sometimes it can be too strong and not enough of a vanilla flavor and things. So I love learning from you guys. I'm a total nerd myself. I am. I love soak all this up. But like Paul was saying, and Jill, even like chocolate, you can really taste such a difference when you want to bring out the flavor. So sometimes people will use, let's say, coffee in a chocolate cake, but you can't sleep on vanilla in chocolate, because that can really give a lot of depth of flavor. And so you guys know, I feel like you are the experts on vanilla, even way more than I am. I'm just one that just loves to use it all the time. But it really can, just make it such a huge difference. Yeah. Oh, and panna cotta, that's another one. Have you guys ever made panna cotta? It's such an easy dessert, but oh my gosh, a good vanilla makes a huge difference, like making this.
Can you tell the difference in a recipe that you're between imitation vanilla and pure vanilla?
Oh, 100%. Like I don't use imitation, but back in the day when I was first married, I was like, oh, what's the difference? Like, is there any difference? And there is. Like, you can absolutely tell. So taking the time to make this, like, you just it's gonna elevate. Oh, and vanilla ice cream, because I keep thinking of things that happens in my brain, but obviously like a homemade ice cream is gonna be just
so. Quick question, one of the things that comes up in our group all the time is our vanilla's dark, pure vanilla's dark. When you're making white frostings, everyone gets frustrated because they're like, well, if I put in my dark vanilla, then my white frosting's gonna be like tainted or dark. Is there any way around that?
That is tough. I do use a Mexican vanilla that's, I can't remember the company's name now, I gotta think about it, but that is a white one. But I used to just use the regular and just was like, well, too bad, because I didn't want to like sacrifice that flavor, but I have used that a little bit.
The flavor wins out.
Yeah.
Flavor wins out, sure.
I agree with that, for sure.
I have read that if you use purple food coloring, it takes the darkness out.
Really fascinating.
It's just a drop. Teeniest drop.
Oh my gosh, I love learning new things. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. Phenomenal.
Super fun.
Definitely, but the quality just makes all the difference.
Good vanilla.
Good vanilla, yeah.
I love it.
Sure.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
we're so glad they're talking about you in the group right here. Let me see. Thank you so much.
I love being
so
here.
good that you're
Hey,
down.
I'm so proud of them. We go back like 30 years. Like, I actually haven't seen Paul.
30 years.
We grew up in Mesa, Arizona. Anyone from Arizona here?
Couple.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. We went to Mountain View way back in the day.
Way back in the day.
I know. So
Post
so
and
fun.
junior high.
Post and junior
We've been connected.
high.
It's like you connect on Facebook, and it's fun to finally get back together.
I know, for sure.
Thank you. Give
Thanks
Melissa
so
a
much.
hand. Visit Modern Honey is her website. They're posting your links right now in the group. Everybody's wanting to look at your butterscotch. They're like, what is that? That sounds amazing. So awesome. Thank you so much. So we are going to jump into the last half today, and we're going to go over 3 extracts. Before we do, we want to take a quick 5-minute break for anyone that needs it. Okay, we've got everyone back. We'll kind of let everyone filter in, but I think we need to get started because we're going to make 3 extracts. We're going to try to do each one in about 15 minutes, and then we'll just have any question answer at the end, and then we have lunch coming in. And so we're excited. Chef Al has prepared something really lovely for us,
Yes,
right?
he has.
Okay. So, Julie. Julie lives in Heber.
I do, just over the mountain.
Just over the mountain, and you've been there for many, many years,
Yes,
right? When
yes.
Heber was a tiny little town.
Yes.
So it's so fun how we meet all these people, and so many of them are just right here in Utah that we met by way of our Facebook group, right?
And
Right.
today we've met. Today, just this morning, we met more.
Yes.
Right here in the front row. We didn't know that we had even more people.
We don't know how.
Yeah.
So in our group online, we call it our group expert program, and every 6 months we call 6 to 12 new group experts. So to be a group expert in VanillaPura, you have to have been in our group for a full year, which means you kind of know your extracts. If you're hanging around after a year, you know your stuff, right?
I think so.
2, you have to be, you think so. You have to be humble. No, I'm kidding.
He's making up stuff now.
So number 2 is you have to be nominated for free beans for kind words. So you've got to be someone in the group who's recognized for exceptional kindness. And so the 3 ladies that you're going to meet today have all been nominated many, and they've won many times, free beans for kind words. And then number 4, you've got to be a top contributor in the group. Or number 3, excuse me, you've got to be a top contributor in the group, which you obviously have been many times. In fact, we have some fun little stats here, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
Oh,
here's
wow.
here's the stats.
Oh, wow.
Joined in July of 2022, so over the year mark, right? Group expert. In the last 30 days, Julie has made 1,229 comments.
Did you know that?
Did you know that?
No.
What do you think about that, hubby?
That's why I oversee her.
Yeah,
Oh, dear.
that is a lot of comments. But that's why she gets nominated so frequently, because the new people join the group, they're asking all the same questions, and there's Julie always giving these super patient, helpful answers on how to make extracts. So we just love Julie, and we're so glad that you agreed to teach us
To do
more,
this,
right?
yes.
So we're kind of now delving into like the next level of extract making, right? And what is the extract we're going to make, Julie?
We are going to make mocha vanilla extract.
A mocha vanilla.
Yes.
And ingredients. Let's go through. What do we need?
We are going to use some cacao nibs.
Right?
No, these are the nibs.
Those are the nibs.
Yeah, these are the nibs.
Yeah.
And these are going to be the coffee beans.
Right?
Yep.
And I don't know what kind they are, but they look really good. They smell better.
They smell good.
Okay. And
So
we're gonna,
roasted cocoa nibs or cacao nibs, however you pronounce. We like saying cacao because it sounds very like,
right.
cacao. Go ahead.
For a newbie,
Uh-huh.
what the heck's a nib?
Well, we can go into cocoa, but cocoa, the way it's harvested, comes out as a bean, and then they roast them, crack them, and then the cracked version is a tiny little, just a broken bean, right? And that's a very layman's term explanation. Yeah, there you go. And then coffee beans. So, right? And then what kind of coffee beans do we know?
They're Guatemalan.
These are Guatemalan coffee beans, which we thought would be
They
kind
are
of fun.
A medium roast.
Medium roast Guatemalan coffee beans that we're using. So this recipe, by the way, is on page 96 of our book, and you'll see as you go through, you take a lot of poetic liberty with all of your extracting. Our hope with the book is that we just give you a starting point, and then you bend the recipes and make them all your own, right?
Yeah, put your favorite coffee in there.
Yeah, your favorite coffee. If you got one that you like, use it. If you have a cocoa nib that you like, use it. Cacao nib. Okay, so what do we do?
We are going to take the beans first.
All right.
I'm going to tie them. Make
Well-
sure they stay under the vodka.
And what kind of beans were these again?
I picked Ugandan and Tanzanian.
Oh, the
I-
Tanzanian. Go ahead.
Tanzanians. I love both beans.
Do you? What do you love about
The Ugandan is earthy,
them? Uh-huh.
and I like raisins, so
They're kind of a raisiny.
yeah,
Yeah?
yeah.
Yes.
So that's why yeah.
Raisins and figs I
Yeah.
get from the Ugandans.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the Tanzanias
Yeah, they're sweet and creamy and buttery.
and buttery. They're a lot like Madagascar,
Ooh, they are really good too.
a little more tangy though.
So you get a little bit both different profiles, taste profiles from adding and blending both beans.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's something I do too. I do a lot of combinations.
Uh-huh.
I love to play with the beans.
So that's actually a big point that that's kind of like phase 2, and we get into that in the book as well. But people find like 2 or 3 beans that they like, and it's a whole new world of extracting. They'll couple like a fruity one with a buttery one to try to create new vanilla by itself flavors, and then different spirits that go with it as well. And so that's the reason you chose 2. You like Ugandan with the Tanzanian has been a good blend for you.
My favorite right now is my Timor with my Comoros.
Oh, your East Timor with the Comoros.
Yes, ask Roxanne and Nancy how good that
How good are
smells.
those Comoros beans? I don't. Do we have any of them here today? I think we sold out. Oh, we do have some Comoros. They're fun. That's a really fun bean. Which one is that we have there? Is it the Sema?
I don't think
Oh, I think we had the
any
Colorado
Comoros.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, if you really love your extracting, I would highly recommend playing around with the beans.
For sure.
And combining some, because you really come up with some great flavors.
Yeah. So an important thing about the extract we're making right now, this is the goal here on this extract is it's going to make 8 ounces of extract, right? Roughly. But what size jar are we using?
16.
So this is kind of an important point. When you start mixing and matching ingredients, we go with a jar that's twice as big as the volume of the extract that we're going to get at the end. So in this case, we've got so many things we're pouring into that jar, we want to make sure there's enough room for the spirit afterwards, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then we're going to add our cacao nibs.
Very good.
And I don't have a funnel.
It's okay. You can make, we use our hands.
Just use my little.
We don't have a big, no, we don't have that funnel, do we?
I think that's about it.
That's all right.
That's working pretty good.
That
though,
works.
Don't you think?
That's how I do it at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we're going to add our coffee beans.
Then you add the coffee.
And they pre-measured these for me,
We
so I
did.
don't
Right.
have to do any of the work.
No.
Now, normally though, and this is, we would probably crack those coffee beans open, right?
No, some people do. Some people will crack open the beans and then put them in. I have done both, and either way is just fine.
If you are going to do it, there's a couple ways. Your mortar and pestle, right? And then the other is the hammer,
You can use just a meat tenderizer.
a meat tenderizer with a cloth over the top, and you can
want
break
to
them up
use
that
this
way.
meat tenderizer. It's awesome.
Oh, is that?
She
Look
has
at
a
you.
This is
What is
awesome.
this?
It's a meat tenderizer.
That is a meat
It has all
tenderizer.
these little prongs that go down
There
through
you
the
go.
thing.
Okay.
Oh, it's awesome.
There you go. And you
Okay.
use that to break your coffee and your
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I don't have a mortar and pestle.
Yeah. Very cool. So we're going to put in the whole beans.
We're getting, but these are cracked at your house.
Yep. Very good.
And then we're going to pour the vodka on them.
That simple. Okay.
I should have been more prepared and had a different vodka. Because
yeah?
since I've started doing this, I don't drink, okay?
Uh-huh.
But since I've started doing this, my husband's caught me in the closet tasting my booze.
Uh-oh.
Oh, in the closet.
Uh-oh. You're a closet extract maker.
Oh my goodness, let me just tell you, some of the vodkas are just awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's talk about uses of a mocha extract. So we're gonna, when this is finally done, we're gonna have the taste of vanilla, we're gonna have the taste of the coffee bean, we're gonna have the taste of the cocoa nibs, right? Or the cacao nibs, right? And so it's a great mocha taste. You've made these before.
Yeah.
You like these.
Yes.
What do you use it for?
I put it in my brownies, I put it in cakes, you can put it in icings, you can put it in coffee, you can just do anything you want with it.
Yeah.
Because it's just wonderful.
It is.
So when you're making baked goods, do you want to double the extract? You probably don't, right? So if it's
I
called
haven't.
for 1 teaspoon, so
Yeah.
when you're making a baked good, if you want to use this extract, where the recipe calls for vanilla extract, that's where you insert your other. You don't want to put in 2 teaspoons because you're doubling the fluid. And that could, you leave a hole in your
Unless
cake
it
or something.
depends on your recipe, and it doesn't matter if you add an extra teaspoon.
Well, and that's what Melissa was saying, right? You get into the creams and the custards and the other things. That's where you can use vanilla liberally and have lots of fun with it.
At the beginning of class, we did lesson number 1.
Uh-huh.
It's very simple.
Right?
8 ounces of vodka. But this seems to have a lot more volume of extra ingredients.
Yep.
Does it require more vodka to get it extracted out, or is it still that 8 ounces?
Still
That's,
the 8 ounce.
it's still 8 ounces. It's a really good question. Sometimes when we add these different ingredients, the alcohol can be absorbed into the coffee beans and into the cacao, and so you'll have to top off. Sometimes I'll go into my cupboard and there's about this much exposed, so I'll just top it off a little bit, and it's just fine. Whenever you're adding several ingredients, the absorption rate increases into all the other ingredients.
But this is where it gets complicated. There's multiple extractions taking place, and a coffee extract or a cacao extract is actually ready in just a month. 2 months. You can go 2 months if you want, right? But in our book, we wait for a month, and then at that point, you actually take out the coffee beans and you take out the cocoa nibs, and don't throw them away because you can powder them. You know, put them in sugar. There's all these things you like. You use them, right? Don't throw any ingredients away. But you take them out. They will have absorbed some alcohol, so we top it off again to try to get to that 8-ounce level. We started with 1 ounce of vanilla beans because we want to get the full extraction out of the vanilla. So you're going to let those vanilla beans sit in that coffee and cacao solution for their full year, which is what the recipe calls for. And then at the end, you have a super rich vanilla mocha extract that really enhances anything chocolate that you make, right?
And you can leave it in longer if you want a little bit more of a flavor of the cacao and the coffee. I've left it in longer, and that works too.
Taste tests liberally. That's why we teach taste testing here. It's such a big deal. It's ready when you think it's ready. So everyone's like, do I have to wait a whole year? Well, if you like it in 11 months, go ahead and start using it. If you like it, we have people that start using them in 6 months, even 90 days, which I think is too soon. But we have people that start using them early because they like how they taste. So, well, it's in your kitchen. If you like how it tastes, use it. But what we have found with the hundreds that we've made, that 1 year mark is really important for vanilla.
It's the sweet spot.
It really is the sweet spot for vanilla, for sure.
Before it started today, I was chatting with Starlet for a minute, and apparently you have put cinnamon sticks in this
Sticks in it.
and
Yes.
different spices, so
Yes.
you can go anywhere with any.
You can go
of them.
anywhere.
Yeah.
The coffee beans are going to float when you first put them in, right? Some of them will start settling down. That's okay. We don't worry about the coffee and the cacao as much as we worry about the vanilla being submerged. And then when you take them out, they will have absorbed some of the alcohol. So the alcohol you started with, which is why the notes are important. If you use like a Svedka, make sure that when you're topping it off, use another Svedka so it's the same alcohol. Top it off to make sure the beans are submerged. Wait your year. And you're good to go, right?
Right.
Is that it?
Perfect.
How fun was that? Julie! Julie!
And this is yours to take.
So, Melissa, please have the Food Network email Julie at hotmail.com. You did an amazing job. Thank
Okay.
you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you,
I really
Julie.
appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Okay, who's next? We have Mary. Mary, come on up. Give Mary a hand. We are so happy that Mary's here. We're going to leave this cutting board. Yep. We forgot to taste test. Julie, how did we do that? No, you're okay. You go ahead. You sit down. We'll go ahead and do a taste test. They're in front of you.
Swirl a little bit.
Swirl a little.
You don't want to get all extract there.
See what you think. That's a 1-year-old mocha extract.
Oh, that's nice.
See what you think. Yeah, is that all right?
So you have all these recipe ideas swimming around in your head right now, right? Where you can add this. There's just so many applications to this.
There you go. Thank you again, Julie. Great job. Thanks so much. Mary, we are so happy to have Mary with us. So Mary has been a member of our group while she's coming up here since February of 2021.
Wow.
Here you go, Mary. We'll get out of your way.
A friend of mine gave me for Christmas vanilla extract. I said, that's nice. Then I started cooking with it, and I baked a lot, and it was amazing. And she says, oh, there's a group called VanillaPura. You should join.
Yes. And we're so glad you did.
Yes.
So she has been our citrus extract expert in our group forever. Some stats here, you're going to be like, only 24 posts. What's going on, Mary? Because that's how many posts in the last 30 days. But we have to explain, right?
She's been on the road.
Mary has spent how many months?
Starts our 4th month.
Mary has been on the road for 4 months. She's gone all around America, and she has posted pictures of all the members of our group in I don't know how many states. I think the furthest away was Delaware, Massachusetts.
Yes. So we went up to, I'm from California, we went up to Washington, we went across, and I told my husband, who's driving our motorhome, I'd like to stop and see Vanilla Friends. He said, you've never met them. I said, well, this is how I'm going to meet them. and love him, whatever. He says, okay. So we have done that. Often I'll say, we'll meet in a shop, and they'll say, that's fine. And some will send us back to the house. And I like thinking I'm a vanilla ambassador.
You're our sweetness ambassador.
Oh.
That's what we call her, a sweetness ambassador.
Like that.
Yes, give her a seriously. How many miles on the RV?
How many miles, Eric?
How many miles? There you
It's about 10,000,
10,000 miles.
And then we pull a Rubicon, which we've done like 5,000, because as much as we can, we park it and then zip about.
Right.
So,
Oh my gosh.
so
we
we
love
knew
it.
we should be home by now, and then this happened, and I said, well, we can race home and then come back. And he says, let's just hang around for a while. So
We're so glad you did.
Very
Yep.
good.
So her 24 posts have been pictures with friends all around the country,
Yes,
and
yes.
it's just been so fun to watch and to see faces, and it's been amazing. So Mary has been such a huge addition to our group. Of course, she was a group expert as well. You just finished your term, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Yep, you just
I
barely
did.
finished your term in August
Yes.
before the new group was called, and so just amazing. So what kind of happens in our group is you start seeing these experts rise for certain things, and then all of a sudden people start tagging the experts when they run into a problem. So in Mary's case, it was always citrus. People are trying to figure out citrus extracts, and then before you know it, all of a sudden everybody's tagging Mary. Mary,
Okay.
Mary,
Mary
Mary.
has her own orchard.
I was going to say, we live in Southern California, and one of our choices was to buy an established orchard. So we've got oranges of all varieties, lemons, grapefruit, and I cannot bear waste, which means, what are you going to do?
You extract them.
So that's the way it goes.
I love it. Well, we've got. You want
All right.
to take a seat there? Are you good?
Climb up.
There you go.
All right.
Okay.
Very high.
We've got you all set up.
All right, so we're making lemon extract, which changes things. I prefer to use a plain vodka. I want it simple. I want that lemon to come through. The book will tell you the first thing you do is wash them, because if you're purchasing your lemons, you have no idea what has happened to them. I get them off my trees. We're a little looser. Yes, amazing, and huge differences if you're into lemons. What a Eureka tastes like compared to what's the Myers or improved Myers, but we're not going to go that way. The big thing on peeling, now this is a personal preference. I like to peel, I don't like to zest, and I zest all the time, but I want all that oil in my fruit to go into my extract. I don't want it dispersed on your microplane.
So fruit extracts, just like vanilla, right? It's all about pulling the oil out of the product into the alcohol solution, and the oil for fruits is mostly, there's oil on the inside too, but it's mostly in the peel.
Yes, when you peel, your big lecture we give you over and over is no pith. That's the white part. The white part adds bitterness. You do not want yours to be bitter. You just want that great lemon. So if you're good at peeling, you do this. If you're not so good, you have to scrape a little bit. Can you see here?
Yeah. So you're scraping off
Just
the
like
pith.
that. So no white is in that at all. We usually go for about 10 lemons. Depends on your size lemons. You know, it's very variable. But it's so forgiving. And that's, I think, the most glorious part of extracting. It's just good. Every way
Yes.
you do it, it's good.
It is forgiving. I like that you say that, because it's not exact. If you've got, it is 10 lemons, but they
Yes.
might be a little smaller or larger, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
you're going to be just fine.
And when you taste test, if you feel like it's not lemony enough, what do? You
Go
just
add more.
add more lemons.
Add more.
Give it another month, give it some more time until it hits that sweet spot that you're looking for.
That's right. And because we can't bear waste again, remember, after that you can juice your lemon. A little bit messy,
Yeah.
but you're going to get every bit of the good out of this. The only thing you're throwing away is the pith.
I love it.
So we have vodka. Again, you can play with different flavors, but vodka gives you the most lemon. We have the peels, as someone gloriously did
Yes.
before us. Yay,
Teresa.
thank you.
We had a lemon extract catastrophe on our
Yes.
way here this
we
morning,
did.
and Teresa bailed us out. So
Thank
we
you.
are just
Thank
so
you. Because I
grateful.
said I'm not traveling with peelers, so I was begging peelers from everybody. So yes, I know, I know. So
Of
We
course.
took care of you.
thank
Right
you,
next to the wheat
thank
thins,
you.
right? The peelers.
I know. I have to show you though, because this is family owned, nothing to do with extracting, but all about things that matter. My parents married in 1947. My father was a GI on the GI Bill. No money at all. For the first Christmas, my mom asked for a cutting board, and my dad made one. Of all the things that I inherited, the Waterford, the Crystal, the Sterling, this is the heirloom one. If you see, it's hollowed.
Yeah.
So this has cut thousands and thousands of oranges, lemons, grapefruits, whatever.
Oh, I love that.
We travel from Southern California partially to get out of the heat, partially to get out of fire season, and I travel with my board. I could lose everything in my house, but I'm not losing my dad's cutting board.
Oh,
That was-
I love that. Yes.
All right, focus.
Cooking.
Yes.
It's about the people,
It's
right?
all
It's
about
always
it.
about the people.
So we have a jar.
There you
Now I
go.
have to tell you, I'm a keen mason jar person. I like the fact I can see it. I like that it's easy to get everything into it. So this is a whole new phenomena for me.
Oh, there you go.
So we are throwing in perfect lemon peels, no pith, brilliantly done. It is about the peeler. So on my travels, I stopped at Stalitz a couple of times. I stopped at Krista's, and I'm checking the peeler. It says, "Oh yeah, bring that one. That's a good one." So one of the things we're going to add to this one is vanilla, because is there anything much better than adding vanilla to everything?
So we add vanilla to everything, but the reason that we do it is vanilla, I mean, naturally, like Melissa mentioned, right? It was when I'll get real nerdy, but the Teutonics were the first to have used vanilla way back in the day, and then it was the Aztecs that took it from the Teutonics, and it was used to accentuate their chocolate. So vanilla as an accentuator was sort of the original origin of vanilla beans, which is really quite fascinating. It wasn't like a main ingredient, it was just something that made everything else better. It took bitterness out of things. So what we found in our extract journey is that even if we're putting in 1 or 2 vanilla beans into any extract we make, it softens it, it binds the ingredients together, it's like a binder, and so you get a smoother finish with every extract that we make. So we now, with all of our citrus extracts, with whatever we're doing, we always have at least 1 or 2 vanilla beans, if not a full ounce, and do a full extraction, right?
So that's the scientific reason. I say it's a magic bean.
There you go.
Add it for the magic. So the suggestion is to split it, because you want that good vanilla all the way through it.
And you like the caviar. You split it when you make the lemon?
I do.
Yeah.
If I'm making just vanilla extract, I never split it. I am totally into the tying. And the reason I like to tie them, obviously it stays below the level, but all the way through my extracting, when it's just vanilla, I take them out of the extract as they're cooking, split it, get the vanilla in whatever I'm doing, and then drop it right back in there.
Yeah.
I know that the flavor is in this, but I like that caviar to, like you said, panna cotta, flan. I was thinking flan when you did that. So I get all the magic from it.
Yeah.
So I'm not a splitter, and I'm not tips. You'll hear people talk about taking their tips off. I said, no, I want that bean whole. That way, when I take it out a year or 2 later, I know which ones I split and which ones I haven't.
Yeah.
A couple just definitions there. When she talks about tipping, it's a thing that people get all these different kinds of beans, and when they make their extract, they cut the tips off the beans, they put them in a jar, they call it their tip jar. And so over the course of time, you got this tip jar with these tips from maybe 10 different kinds of beans, and they make a whole new extract.
Yep.
And so these are some of the creative ones that they'll come up with
And
for
the people
tipping.
we visited, they said, are you having a bad day? Smell my tip jar. And just get that from it. So they have the bean, and then they do the tips. Thank you, Krista.
Yes. Yeah, who invented the tipping? Where did that, was that you, Krista?
Well, I didn't start it.
Well,
But I tested
there you go.
So we've split the beans.
Yeah.
We're dropping them in.
Love it.
We might want to cut. There we go.
Yes, okay. I figure, I know. I'll do my
So
top.
another, while you're doing that, everyone says, what do I do with my beans when they arrive? What's the safest place to store them, right? Because they do go bad. Like beans are food. They'll get mold. They'll go bad, right? Best place to store them, bottle of vodka.
Yes.
Like keep them in there until you're ready to use them. Like you can't go
The-
wrong, right? They
I-
might extract for a month, but you know when you're ready, that's as safe as it
Exactly.
gets. Put your
I
beans in
can't-
alcohol the second they arrive.
Over and over, we see on people said, "Oh, I got it, and I didn't use it for a month." But why? All we're doing is just do this. Then you're safe. You're not dealing with the potential of mold. You're beginning. Who wants to wait another month or two?
Right.
So, all right, we have carefully measured 8 ounces. We have a lovely funnel. You see how complicated this is?
It's so fun.
So complicated.
The hardest part about extract making is the wait.
Waiting a year.
The wait. So
Which is one reason a lot of us make other things, because this doesn't take a year.
No, it doesn't.
There's a lot of them.
Well,
but
and the forward flavor here is the lemon. We're just putting in a couple beans as binders, right? And I love that this happened because
Right.
this is a mistake. Yes.
No, Mary doesn't use these bottles.
Yes.
She uses different bottles, right? So when you use a bottle like this, you have to make sure that your beans are very, very small so they can be submerged into the lemon.
But when we visited Jeanette's house up in Brigham City a year ago, we did a live at Jeanette's house, and we had this issue happen.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
what's the trick when your beans are sticking up? Starlet. A toothpick. A chopstick.
Okay.
A chopstick.
Yes.
So we don't have a chopstick. Oh, you got it?
Oh.
We can grab the chopstick. Are
Yes,
you just
yes,
working
yes.
on getting it down?
So you'll notice the circle one that I always do is under. The tall one, not so much.
Yeah. Mason jars work really well. A lot of us already have them in our homes, and they've got the wide mouth, so you can just kind of push them down in. And if you come across this problem, then it's easy just to kind of
You're trying to fish
those
it out
and
to
then-
cut it?
I am.
So Jeanette would just push it down with that toothpick and just bury it in there. You want to cut it.
I'm gonna
All right, there we go.
A vanilla bean is not gonna defeat me.
No.
I don't think much does it?
No. So that is a lemon extract.
There you go.
And of course, this could be orange. This could be grapefruit. It's amazing what you add to this. Limes, of course. All the good things. So I have a recipe that came from an old church cookbook from Massachusetts in the 70s that asked for lemon extract. And I said, what's that? I live in California. I have always substituted my lemon juice. I wrote my sister, who's in Florida, and said, do you have Mom's cookbook? She says, yes. I said, take a photo of it. All right. And she did. So we have that page, and we've got one for everybody. So you have...
Yes.
For 12 years, I owned a bed and breakfast. That lemon bread was my most requested recipe ever, partially because on the top you do a glaze of lemon juice, and you add sugar, of course. But if you add vanilla sugar, you've gone to the next level. So everyone has a recipe for the lemon bread, and we did it correctly with the lemon extract.
I love it. We'll leave the recipe up here when we're done. All the comments in the group are saying, OMG, she's a natural. We need more Mary.
Is she not? Is
Yes.
she not?
So I'm always telling them, you need to come to my house in January, February, because our trees are covered with lemons, oranges, grapefruits, avocados, little
Extract
squats.
making party.
Yep.
We got to do it.
We're
Put the
doing
show on the
it.
road.
Who doesn't want to go to California in January?
I
Exactly.
know.
You want to
Seriously.
all of this, and you get that smell of the fruit as
Oh,
it
it's
blossoms.
wonderful.
It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary,
This
you
is
did a
fun.
wonderful job. Thank you so much. Uh-oh, I'm getting a low battery alert. Let's make sure this is plugged in. We're almost done now, so it might be okay timing. It's plugged in, but not charging. Let's see here. Is that doing it? Well, we're just going to go because we're almost done anyway. So let's introduce Starlet. Starlet, come on up. So I don't even know where to begin with Starlet.
Where do you begin?
Starlet. I mean, it's first of all her name. It's Starlet. She's our star.
We love you.
Yes.
She
Thank
is
you.
a star.
Starlet was one of the very first members of our group. She's from Nebraska. We've been out to her house. The only way really I can explain Starlet is this. Starlet has a vanilla room. Okay? I'm not joking. Here we are in Starlet's vanilla room. Now, you can only see that side right there. I don't know how many extras. There's a side on the right, and then there's a side against the wall.
Bigger.
We had to go out and visit Starlet on her farm, and it's the most beautiful place in the world.
We love it.
We were out there for a day, and they just treated us so wonderfully. And so Starlet is one of our greatest creators. She came up with this saying that says, vanilla is our yum. And so when Starlet helps, she's always like, vanilla's our yum, vanilla's our yum. So we have it on our bags. We have a lot of things that are all Starlet, vanilla's our yum. She has invented and created so many recipes. You'll see her name through our book in a number of different recipes because they were all inspired by her. Or many of the ones that were done were inspired by Starlet. And so the winter spice is kind of a version of what you called your holiday mingle. Right? But a little about Starlet. She's from Nebraska, joined the group October 4th, 2020, been a group expert moderator forever. She was our first expert moderator, and she has never left. So where everyone comes in and they're there for like 6 months, Starlet has been our moderator and kind of permanent group expert from the very beginning. She, in the last 30 days, has made 1,572 comments.
No wonder I don't get anything done.
Holy
These are
cow!
comments. They aren't likes. She's commenting, and we have people in our group just ask Starlet, what do you think?
Yep.
Starlet, what do you think? So
They
poor
do.
Starlet,
And thank you.
she's a very busy lady.
We love Starlet, and so we've been to her house to do a live. She's been to our house to do a live,
Yep.
and so it's amazing.
And I was
how
coming
this.
regardless. So.
Yep. Yeah. So we said, let's do a live. Starlet's on her way.
I'm on my way.
Let's do a live. So Starlet's going to teach us how to make, it's called our winter spice extract. We're going to do some changes to it, I think. It's on page 77 of our book.
77, correct.
Everybody's saying hello. Laura, Diane,
everybody.
everyone. They're so excited to see
It's
it.
great.
So let's get started. Explain this recipe to us. Why do you like it? How did you come up with all these different ingredients to like blend them together?
That was hard. I love spice, and vanilla just works wonderful with spice. Sometimes when you add just spice to, or a seasoning spice to your recipe, it overcomes it. Where I said, well, I like vanilla, let's try a little. I started with the allspice because allspice is really good. And then once it kind of got allspice, I said, well, what is it missing? Maybe I need to put some anise seeds in it. Ginger is great, you know. So by the time I got done, I had ginger and cardamom and all the spices that, you know, cinnamons. And I thought, after about 6 months, I started tasting it and I put it in brownies, and it just makes everything pop. But I still add vanilla.
Yes.
Regardless, I still add vanilla. But this, because it has all the spices inside of your extract, it doesn't have the big overpowering, because cloves and even allspice, anise, they're all powerful spices. But if you pull them together with the vanilla, which vanilla in everything, right? I mean, that's pretty much, it actually just mingles the spices and everything and all the flavors into something delicious.
So we made this a little over a year ago. We've got one that everybody's going to be able to sample to see what you think. But for us, this has become kind of our holiday extract that we go to, right? This is holiday cooking. This is hot wassail.
Hot wassail, absolutely.
Right.
Yes, or in your tea. I mean, it is
Hot chocolate.
so wonderful.
Adult hot
My
chocolate.
biggest regret about this, I did not make enough.
Make
you
a
guys
quart.
are lucky I'm
Yeah.
sharing with you, because this is the biggest regret I have out of all my extracts.
Yeah.
Is I did not know how wonderful it was.
It turned out better than I actually expected. Now you can use this way before a year. If you want the big vanilla impact, then you're going to have to wait a year for your vanilla to actually extract. But you can use it in 2, 3, 4 months. You'll have the spice flavor. The vanilla is going to take a little bit longer, but if you have finished extract, a lot of times what I do, I won't waste too much time here, but a lot of times what I do is when I decant my vanilla, most of the times I don't take my vanilla out, or my beans out of my vanilla. They just hang out. I've got beans, it's been 15 years. They're still in the same jar. But there are times where I need to decant the whole entire bottle to give as gifts. Well, what do you have? You have beans. I have tons of sugar. I've got tables of sugar. I got everything. So I say, Mary can contest to that one. I got everything everywhere. But what I did is I do a second extraction. And I take my half of whatever I did. If I did 8 ounces, and I take 4 ounces and I put it in over the used beans. And I take that and I actually use it as the base instead of using the regular alcohol. I use my second extractions as the base for my spiced, and they already have the vanilla pop because you know they're already extracted in the vanilla, so they have the instant flavor. So that's how I create a lot of mine. Some of the other, the autumn spice or the autumn one before that, I made one that was similar for my cousin can't have cinnamon, so she just loves holidays and she always got left out. So that's also, I think, page 76 in the book is if you want one that doesn't have some of the spices and some of the cinnamon, then, you know, because there are people who are deadly allergic to cinnamon, I had no idea. So
how do we do this then with the allspice? How do we get it in the bottle? What kind of prep do you do to make it work?
I have to show a trick.
Oh, hey, all right, a trick.
1 minute, because
okay.
I was going to run up here and do it while you were trying to pour that in, but I won't.
No, this is
I'm
great.
a paper plate person.
Okay.
So I like to take.
There you go.
These are a little heavier than I use.
Easy enough. So those are the allspice berries, right?
These are the allspice berries.
Nice and easy.
And
so it's important when you're doing an extract like this, you need a wide neck.
You need a wide neck.
Because you've got big ingredients.
Absolutely. Now you can use just the regular seeds, or you can use the whole entire star. Now the star will give it a little bit different flavor because it has a little woodiness to it because it has the wood. Whereas your regular seeds gives it a little bit milder flavor and you don't have the woodiness. I like them both ways. I have them both ways.
Okay.
I have them 3, 4, 5 different ways. But.
Love it.
And then you can kind of do the same thing. You know, just hold your hand over it and just slide it in.
Okay.
And it's like quick and easy. And there's no mess. And that's a paper plate.
There you go.
And
Love
I
it.
always keep them with me.
How easy was that?
How easy
There
was
we go.
that? See, that's another tip. So that's an easier way.
Okay.
Now your beans, you can tie them. You can, you know, normally.
What do you prefer normally? You're a cutter or a slicer? You don't want to say because you'll lose all your followers.
No, that's not true.
I get it. No, I'm
that's
there.
not
I'm
true.
with you.
They all have the purpose.
Hot button.
Now, when I do the peppercorns, I always tie them because I don't want the caviar in it.
Good.
So I always tie it.
Yep.
And when you use some of the things, I'm the caviar person. I'd rather have mine thick and just syrupy and gorgeous with all this heavy. You don't get that when you insert them in just regular.
Right.
You get a good, clean, delicious, but it's more clear. not clear as in color, but clear as in looking through it.
Okay.
Whereas if you cut it, you get, and you shake it, because no one said shaking.
Right.
You can either shake your vanillas
Right.
or your extracts, or you can just leave them alone. It's
Okay.
a preference.
Love it.
Yeah, and when you shake it, it actually incorporates the flavor. It doesn't really do much on the vanilla wise, but your different spices, if you shake it around or swizzle it or shake it really hard, it actually helps incorporate the flavor quicker of your spices.
Okay.
Now vanillas, that's up in arms. We're not really sure about that. I
There you
don't
go.
think it really makes a difference. So you can do really anything.
Okay.
I'm a tipper.
You're a tipper.
I got my tip jar sitting over
Okay.
there. I have a
So you're
traveling
gonna
tip
tip it?
jar, and I cut off just the bare tips.
And then what are you going to do with this one? You're going to leave them whole, tie them, cut them?
I'm going to slip this one up.
You're gonna
and
slip that
I'll
one
take
up?
a scissors. Everybody say I'm a scissors.
We're going to help you on the other ones.
Yeah,
Just to
and then
kind of
some
keep
of
it
them
going.
you can just tie.
How about we tie them?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can just tie, and then you can just cut in half.
Okay.
And I just cut them right up, put them over the jar, and then I usually cut them in threes.
Oh, there
to
you
fit
go.
'em in.
Threes to make them work.
And then, you can, like I said, you don't have to cut your tips. You can leave them in. I'm
Right.
a tipper.
You're a
I'm
tipper.
gonna
You like to tip.
I'm a tipper.
And you
Okay.
can cut them into tiny little pieces.
You can do them any way you want.
Yeah, you'll still get all of the oils extracted
Can I have
out
these in
of
the
the
travel?
Of
tip
course,
jar?
they're all yours. Let's see. And then we'll get
Memories.
into the last two ingredients here in a second. We're going to talk about nutmeg and cinnamon.
Nutmeg and cinnamon.
Cinnamon's interesting, right? Because there's many different types. Really, there's two
kind.
real distinct.
And it really depends on what you want.
Right.
Because if you put the Ceylon cinnamon in there, you're going to get just a hint
Uh-huh.
of cinnamon because it's a very light cinnamon.
Exactly.
And it takes a little bit longer to give you a cinnamon flavor,
Yep.
where if you use the cassia cinnamon,
Uh-huh.
it's what everybody's used to. So when you go out and you get cinnamon toast or something, that's the cinnamon flavor. And that doesn't take as long to extract as, the Ceylon cinnamon.
Yes,
but they're
for sure.
both good. The Ceylon's supposed to be better for you. I don't know. I eat it all.
There you go.
And then
The nutmeg, what do you do
the
with that?
nutmeg, now you can take and you can bang it.
Is that what you normally do?
Put it in
Yeah,
here?
I'm gonna.
Do you want me to do
Yeah,
that?
I'm gonna put
Okay.
Jill in charge of that. There
we
you
go.
go. So if she breaks the counter,
Bad
it's her
day.
buck.
Beans are
That's
late.
Smart. You're so smart. Okay.
take
And
all
then just
your-
do the same thing
That
and
was
just
easy enough, right?
put it in that way because the nut's
Okay.
hard and it's really hard for the liquid to penetrate the nutmeg. And I mean it's yeah, and yeah, exactly. So I always like to cut it or bang it up. And then your cinnamon's the same way. You can break it into several pieces.
We like
and
to
put
break
in.
it. It
I like to
releases the
break mine.
flavors, right?
Yep. And then you put it in. And then when you're done with this and everything's extracted, you take it out, you dry it, you grind it, and you use it in sugar.
There you go.
Well, and also shaking this helps kind of get everything,
Everything down, mhm.
when the alcohol comes up.
Absolutely.
And you, after a while,
And then
you
as
shake
it,
it.
yep, and then as the alcohol, I always make, another tip is I always make a fluid mark. I'd have a silver marker, and I call it a fill line. And every time I fill my jar, I always add the fill line straight across, so that way I can monitor how fast they go down, because some of your spices absorb. Vanilla beans itself, not a lot, but a lot of your spices will absorb.
Yep.
And the next thing you know, you've got a couple or an inch down of thing you're wondering, wow, what's the matter? Do I add? Well, you can for this purpose, and then I just add it back up to the fill line.
Okay.
So a fill line's kind of nice.
So in the case here, we're just going to put the vodka in, and we're going to
vodka,
go to the
that's
fill
it.
line. We've got a, is this a Tito's?
Measure that for you.
We've got a Tito's vodka, which is an American-made, Texas. We
From
like
Texas,
that,
mhm.
right? Tito's is kind of a good mid-shelf,
Rum,
affordable.
you can use rum. Rum
Use
is
rum.
good. Bourbon is fabulous.
Bourbon, this is a smoky one that would be great for bourbon.
It actually, with the spices, the heaviness of the spices and the bourbon,
Right.
it's actually
Yeah,
really
that
good.
would be lovely.
So
It is,
typically,
yeah.
the darker the spirit, the longer you have to wait.
Yep.
So, if you've got a vodka, they're ready in a year. But sometimes when you use a bourbon or a dark rum, you might have to wait like 18 months before it hits that sweet spot. So that's one
Yeah,
of the things.
especially with the
That's why-
vanilla, absolutely.
Yeah,
There we
and that's
go.
why the taste test is so important.
That's why the taste test is so important. That is beautiful. Now
And then-
everyone has it? Let's
That's
see.
it.
That's it? Does everyone
And then
have it? They're testing it? Oh,
You
oh,
can
oh.
shake it.
You said before that you take the spices after and grind them all together.
To make, yes.
Put 'em in your.
I have a jar that I call holiday mingle seasoning, and I actually have it ground because I use it in pumpkin pie. Anything pumpkin, you can take and you can make it with cream like you did here, and you can put it in hot chocolate or you can do everything. There is nothing that you can't do, and there's nothing that you can't use it in. So
Thank you.
Yes.
cook away.
Scarlett, give Scarlett a hand.
Cook away. You know.
Thank you, Scarlett.
And thank you.
There you go.
Oh, Thank you. I love it.
Thank you so much. Okay.
So how old is this one? Is this a year?
This is a year.
Okay.
So this is right at a year, yep. And what do you think? Are you guys tasting? Do you like that one? Do you not like it? Is it good? Yeah?
Christmas in liquid
It's
form.
Christmas in
Is
liquid
it
form.
not? Oh my
So for
goodness.
holiday baking, instead of just vanilla extract, you grab your winter spice or your autumn spice, whatever it is, spice things up. More flavors. That's the idea, right?
Now you know why this is my biggest regret, right? Now I'm almost out. I've got a little bit left for the holidays coming up, but next time I'm gonna make a lot more.
There you go.
Like a chai, similar to a chai.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You
So
can buy
good.
5-gallon glass jugs.
Yeah, maybe I need to do that next year,
You
right?
need those.
That would make a lovely gift for Christmas, would it not?
Wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's our show. That's it. And so we're going to be here. We've got, as we mentioned at the beginning, we've got lunch coming in, Chef Al, and he's bringing not only it's a Cuban sandwich.
It's a Cuban sandwich,
But-
so it is it is delicious.
amazing.
We're also following that up with a French flan because that is going to just really showcase our vanilla, and we wanted you guys to be able to experience a little bit of Chef Al and a little bit of VanillaPura.
VanillaPura. So it's going to be amazing.
Yep.
We'll bring that in here in just a minute.
We
Make
also-
sure. Oh, go ahead.
We also have, I like to call this my little research and development. These are in all different stages. Some of them are finished, some of them are in the middle. I'm going to take the caps off. You're welcome to smell them. They're all different. Some of them will be very strong because they're not finished. But I wanted you to experience all the different levels, the beginning, the middle, and the end. So have at it, try it out. And then also Starlet has some sugar.
I brought my extracting room.
She brought her extracting room, so she has some things also that she's going to add over here, while we mingle. Enjoy your lunch, come over here, take a look at some of the extracts. If you guys want us to sign your book, we will.
We will.
We
still
feel-
think it's a little weird, but it's okay. We're happy to.
Yeah, we feel really ridiculous even saying it,
But a lot of you have asked, and
Yeah.
so this is book signing time, so we're happy to do that in the very best penmanship that we can muster up.
Yeah, it won't be that good.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for sharing your expertise. Were they not experts?
They're amazing.
They were.
Yeah.
They were.
No, when we started this in a million years, we never would have thought we'd be here on Book Publishing Week and talking about extracts and people flying in. This has absolutely astonished us. We're more surprised than you are that we're up here. And we just can't thank you enough. To everyone that's been in our group, Starlet, early on, and to everyone watching, there's so many people that joined the group early on and have just kind of been there cheering us on and helping us build the culture. And then our business has sort of just evolved into the culture of the amazing people that make up all these great extracting ideas.
And there's no other place out there like you guys.
No.
I mean, there's
But Paul and Jill, you have given us a forum. You have given us a place.
we couldn't have done it without you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. So in the back of our book, there's a number of acknowledgments. We tried to make sure we list all of the group experts. At the time, we had to stop writing the book. A year ago, the publisher finally said no more edits.
That was a hard
And
day.
so that was really hard. So we know that there are names that should be there that aren't there. Hopefully there will be another edition or another book in the future.
Yes.
But right now, we've got as many of the group experts listed in the acknowledgments. Starlet, you're in it, and so many other places. You're behind so much, the inspiration. We just really couldn't do it without everyone.
Everybody.
It takes a village.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for spending 2 hours of your Friday morning with us. We appreciate it.